So this is what I have so far for the second cultural essay. I tried to apply what I saw in the documentary more because my professor suggested I do that in the feedback. I think I was given too many chia seeds for this relatively small container of yogurt. Here is where I'm at in regards to Elvinar. I think I've focused on improving these two residences, but I can't improve them anymore unless I get some land here, which I think is a potential goal for the future, though I think getting manufactories for gems, magic dust, and especially elixirs take higher priority. Then there's upgrading this armory to level 5. The whole day has been nothing but spending my time working on the second cultural essay. Oddly enough, it's taken me much more time and effort to answer the comprehension questions than to do the essay itself. The essay itself is only a minimum of 500 words. So, today I happen to have my intermediate Spanish 1 class. I made an effort of participating a lot. During class time, there were some oral exercises and then some exercises involving exercises within the textbook, which is actually hole punched pieces of papers within a binder, which I don't like as much as an actual textbook because turning the pages can be difficult when the rings within a binder won't line up correctly because the hole has difficulty fitting through two ends when both ends of the ring at once can fit through one end of the ring just fine, but not both of them side by side. I researched the magic dust manufactory because it was the magic dust manufactory that I had the necessary things to activate first. Hence why I'm not currently researching the gems manufactory, aside from the fact that I have the production boost technology for the elixir, not for magic dust nor for gems. Though gems are still pretty valuable. Gem relics, because they're a component of creating these combining catalysts, which you need in order to craft most buildings. pretty much most things. They're an ingredient for most things you would craft. And so are the spell fragments. Which is why being able to get far within the Spear of Eternity is so important. With every battle you win, or negotiation you successfully complete, though that's a risk of itself, it's better to do the battle, because if you're able to win, it's less of a loss. The only resources you're really risking are what it costs to train the troops at the barracks. Whereas if you choose to negotiate, as I did during the last Spear of Eternity as a desperation tactic, you risk losing gold, supplies, and materials. And there's this mini game where you have to correctly guess which gate spirit wants what. I think I could do it within 3 tries, but it's been proven I can't do it within 3. I ultimately tried twice. It's unlikely I'm going to try again. There's just one province I need to finish taking over to get the next province expansion. And I should probably participate more in the tournaments, but right now I can't really afford to lose any time. The phase I'm currently on, I've discovered through experimentation that the Tridents are the best unit. Because they're heavy melee units, their movements can be pretty cumbersome, especially if you get unlucky with the terrain. I think this is relatively good terrain. It's only truly blocking one of my Trident squads. Or maybe in this case 2, but maybe not. This is the only unit that has an advantage over the Tridents. The rest have a disadvantage, dealing less damage and receiving more against my Tridents. Generally speaking, for every unit type, they're weak against other units, they're weak against some units and strong against others. So, you take a look at all of the enemy unit types there'll be, and figure out which unit type will be strong against the most of the enemy squads. That way you can win with the least possible casualties. And less casualties mean less training required in order to replace your casualties. And that means you'll be able to beat the provinces faster. I think this is the least casualties I've had in a while in regards to treatants. The last ones in recent history had considerably more. Perfect! I currently don't have enough sorceress squads to use all of them within one battle. I stayed up relatively late into the morning to work on my Ensayo Cultural dose, which is Spanish for Cultural SA2. I stayed up until about 6 to 6:30 in the morning. And that's because I fell asleep earlier at night. I've had more than one energy drink today, which included the last of the Monster drinks that I bought at the corner store the other day, as well as one of the Rockstar punched beverages that I gotten from the Nest. I had the Monster beverage, if I recall, I think I had it before I went to my Spanish class. And as for the Rockstar Punched, I pretty much had it during both before and during my criminal law class, during which we went over degrees of homicide lower than murder, or at least first degree murder. We had a lecture PowerPoint on first degree murder, manslaughter, and corporation murder. Then we ended the class with some discussion questions. I was put into a breakaway group that had Garrett as one of its members. My efforts in trying to contribute were basically to go over the topics in the textbook. I got my textbook when I was put into a breakaway group, because this one is even less casualties. Because in particular, this is a bad unit to use. This one's bad for treatants. I don't have enough golems or enough sorceresses. Light-ranged units are actually even. So, sword dancers it is. I just barely have enough for a full battle. It's going to be a game of cat and mouse. Because these light-ranged units, I think I have just as much mobility, but the difference with the light-ranged is that, the terrain isn't very good. I don't think. No. Oof. Alright. The sword dancers have an advantage against these light range. I'm gonna go this way because I don't think I can go the other way I was highlighting earlier. I just want to point out I enjoy the music that Smirks makes. In the past, he made some great videos on GoAnimate. I kind of wish he would make more of those great GoAnimate videos because I know that he has the talent for it. And I myself, even with what I have to do today, I spent a little time to work on the 99th Dan Hamming, but not that much. There's only 3 more comprehension questions I need to work on. And in regards to the comprehension questions, these ones are relatively difficult. It's going to require rewatching the documentary some more so that I can collect some personal history, the personal history that the documentary discusses of, I believe, 2 teachers within Hoover Elementary. And then one question, number 14, I believe, asks me to make a kind of judgment call. I need to think about what the documentary presents to me. I recently traded a bunch of my scrolls so I could get some marble. I believe I made that move because I wanted to upgrade the barracks yet again. Not because I necessarily wanted to unlock more of the research technologies. Although there is good stuff on the horizon. Although, you gotta keep up on the minimum province requirements. You have to conquer a certain number of provinces before you can move on to the next research era. 75 for 5, 100 for 4, 130 for 7, for 8, it's 160, then 190, then 220, then 250, then 280, then 320, 360, 400, and finally 440. It's going to be quite the journey, but I'm going to get there. For most buildings, you're required to have some sort of footpath. So, paving the best ones you can is a good way to get your culture up. It's how I'll try and keep my culture at 170% bonus all the time once I complete this objective. The next upgrade for the barracks is pretty expensive. And all this training makes it a challenge to ensure I have enough supplies. This is a double chocolate chip cookie. Now this is not a very strong cookie. When dunked, it kind of fell apart. This is what's called Lake Charles dirty rice. And these are Arizona potatoes. I think I can still beat this encounter with tree ants, though it's going to be relatively high casualties. And that's not the best terrain. Regardless, after today's session of my intermediate Spanish 1 class was officially over, I went to the office of my professor for that class, whereupon I showed her the picture I took of my laptop screen with the comprehension questions. I can't believe how much those units can move. We had a discussion regarding what I had so far for my answers for the comprehension questions. You can't escape now. This one over here. I asked the questions that I felt would help me to finish answering the comprehension questions. By that point, I had already had them mostly answered. Obviously, I've since gotten more progress on the comprehension questions. But by the time I had the discussion with my professor, there were just 5 I had to do. And the work I did between me getting lunch and me finishing and me having my criminal law class and getting ready for it, I had expanded one answer I had a bit and completed, I think, 1 or 2 more questions. I got lunch after my Spanish class, and I got dinner after my criminal law class. That's ultimately how it went. I thought I was all finished by then. In regards to... For my criminal law class today, I downloaded these questions. These are the questions we answered for our breakaway group discussion. These are really more questions to generate discussion. You don't have to finish them. You're not graded on the content of your answers. It's really more for just participation. To give you time to apply what's discussed in the lectures. And this is what I have for the comprehension questions. I have roughly 4.5 hours for the due date. I got some good news in that some extra credit opportunities were announced for my Spanish class, which is good because I think it's currently my worst class, with me having a 79.3% weighted total, which I thought was a B minus, but my professor told me it's actually a C plus. I asked that question on the way to the office.